Hi, welcome. So, I just wanted to start off by sharing my story because I think for a long time I thought, well, who's going to want to hear it? Who cares? Obviously, I'd had some feedback at the time and throughout that I thought, well, it's not worth mentioning, and I'm certainly not discussing it to wallow in it, which is why I love hearing people's stories and how they've used that to propel themselves forward, what growth they've made, what changes they've made. I find that really valuable when you use it for that purpose. So rather than being ashamed of it, I'm going to share it just now very quickly to summarise and then explain why that is important. So, a couple of years ago, I was hanging a heavy picture up a set of ladders and I thought it was hung and turned round to come down the ladders. It was up about 6 feet and it wasn't. So the picture fell on my back, winding me, and a massive big shard of glass, because the picture smashed, went through my back and into my lungs and chest. So I remember at the time, all I could think of, because I didn't realise exactly what had happened, of course, I thought, oh no, the mess, I'll need to clean up this mess. Like, that was the first thing I was thinking about. But then as I started to climb my own stairs up, because it was the bottom of the stairs, I'd went up the ladder for this wee area where I was putting the picture. As I started to climb up the stairs, I was like, oh. And every breath I was taking was like, it was agony. So I've done yoga and breath work since I was 15. So I know how to breathe properly, but rather than the deep breathing that I'd trained myself to do, I had to switch and do very shallow breathing. And once I got to the top of the stairs, I knew something wasn't right. So I had a wee look in the bathroom mirror at my shoulder, and there was blood on my back and a big gash, big hole just by my shoulder blade. And I just knew that glass had went in there. I knew this wasn't normal. So waited a while for the ambulance, it never came, waited again, eventually came. They said that they didn't believe that I had glass in there because my stats were so high, my breathing. But I just knew there was something not right. So anyway, eventually I got put in the ambulance, made it down the stairs, and I turned blue at this point. And it was country roads. I was living in the country at the time. It was country roads all the way to the hospital, so every bump and pothole in the road was just ripping me apart inside because they made me lie down. I didn't want to lie down, but I had to. Obviously, you're in their hands at this point. I was still in between, like, screaming in pain and struggling to breathe. I was still kind of like, how are you, to the paramedic and his work partner, and still being cheery and nice and trying to focus on what I would usually do, which is take an interest in people. And obviously I was really grateful that they were helping me. So rather than go into full detail, went through over the course of the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 different surgeries. First, for my lung had filled up with blood, they needed to drain that, went into shock on table, so I was rushed. They got the lung drained, they put a drain in between my ribs, got rushed to another hospital by blue light ambulance. My mum said she was praying, she was behind me in my stepdad's car. She said I was praying that you'd make it. So she said, when I heard you screaming at the other side coming out the ambulance, I was like, thank goodness, at least he's alive. Obviously I remember parts of it, but I was mostly just kind of fighting for my life. Second surgery, third surgery, fourth surgery. So eventually I got out and they told me that there was no glass left inside me, but I was still in so much pain. I couldn't even put my own socks on. My mum really took care of me, and eventually we found out, after me pushing for more scans, that there was 7 shards in there in my lung and chest tissue that they can't get out. So I've just to live with it. So I was trying to see the best, but I must admit at the time I thought, this is karma, I'm being punished for something. But it's just one of those things. The difference is, then I found out my partner had been cheating on me while I was in hospital, So I had to stop that relationship, and then I had trouble with my work because they were desperate, they needed me back, but the doctor didn't want me to go back. But I had to say to the doctor, you need to sign me back on, otherwise I'm going to lose my job, I'll lose my income. But I was going into the bathroom, and I'm not really a crying person, but I was going into the bathroom and crying. It was so painful, it was hard, it was so hard. But I had responsibilities, I had rent to pay to my mum. I was staying with her at this point because I'd moved back in with her. And I was paying, well, she was staying somewhere else, so I was renting the house. So I was not going to not pay her rent, so I just powered on. Then COVID came, and lockdown and furlough, and it was like a gift from the universe, because I had a month, 2 months, whatever, to actually spend on recovery. So of course I held a lot of resentment about that, but actually it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's made me really appreciate life. It's made me a different person. I value the different things than I used to. I've had to slow down and, you know, listen to my body when it needs rest. I've got so in tune with it even more. And yeah, it's an absolute blessing that it happened. And I wouldn't be saying that at the time, of course. It was so painful. The worst pain I've ever experienced. I mean, I was screaming in pain. That's how bad it was. I couldn't stop. It was like, you know. But yeah, it was one of the best experiences overall that I've ever had. And that's why I think people say, oh, people have been through worse, or, you know, oh, right, it's happened now, Fraser, get over it. These are things I had heard from people, so I did think, yeah, they're right, there's people going through worse. It's not that important, it's done now, just get over it, whatever. Obviously, when you're left with a daily reminder of that, with the daily pain, it's not as bad as it was, of course, but it's still pretty bad, you know. It's managed, but it has been hard sometimes. But I accepted it and appreciated it for what it is. And also, that's the thing about the story what people share, is I just feel if it was my time to go, I would have went. And even the doctors were saying, you know, you're so lucky, we thought we were going to lose you. If it had been an inch to the side, it would have went through your heart. You know, the big bit of glass, I've still got it. I made sure to keep it in a wee jar, so I've still got that, and I carry it around with me. It's like, yeah, I have survived that. So anytime I feel or have felt not good enough, not strong enough, remind myself, you know, actually you did really well, and you're still doing well. And as are everyone, we all are, you know. So it's taken me a while to get to this point where I'm ready to share that and try and help others, because I know people go through some really difficult experiences in life, and the people that are maybe quite harsh and don't understand or don't care, or say they don't care, that's just not the people that are going to guide them towards, or guide us, because obviously I've had guidance as well, guide me towards acceptance, to help, to see the light in it, to find your purpose. So thank you for listening, and I'll share more, not about this, about the journey going forward of achievements and what I would like to do, who I would like to help, etc. But yeah, that is an introduction of what's brought me here, and I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you.